Hello gang, welcome back to another video. What a weird update we just had. I'm going to start the video off by saying, first of all, thank you very much for everybody that's tuning in to all the content that I'm putting out, regardless of what platform it's on. I'm posting tons of clips. I'm posting videos almost every day for you at the moment, so hopefully you guys have all been enjoying it. It seems like you have been. If you're not already following me on other platforms, the main one that I want you to, well, the main two that I want you to drop a follow on, if you please can, if you want to watch me live, please check out the link in the description and on the pinned comment, which is a link directly to my Kick. That is the only place that I'm streaming at the moment, is kick.com forward slash siimssyy, SII1MSSY. The exact same as my YouTube, but as I said, the link is in the description. So please make sure you're dropping a follow on that. Secondly is my Twitter, or X. Who the fuck calls it X? It's definitely still Twitter, right? Make sure you guys are dropping a follow on there as well. It's siimssyy1. Again, spelled the same way. SII1MSSY1. Make sure you're following that because I'm posting tons of clips on there now. As well as I'm posting everything regarding me, my family, everything that's happening in life is all on there. As well as notifications of when I'm live. So it's really important you guys drop a follow on that if you haven't done so already. But let's move on into the video. So, patch notes, update. First and foremost, so far we've effectively downloaded on PC it was roughly about 60 gigabytes worth of download. And we basically got Armored Royale. So, bit of an L so far for this reloaded update, to put it bluntly. But I'm going to give you the version of this update that is actually straight and not COD partnered, not BSing, tiptoeing around the edge, because that's just not me. Basically nothing's really changed. That's the crux of it. We have had an update to Dome, if you want to call it Dome. I just call it Dome. You know what I mean. Center of the map. I can't even remember its actual name, but I call it Dome. That's been blown up. So there's that bit's okay, but that's not 60 gig. We were meant to get Al-Bagra Fortress Resurgence, which I will give props for, even though we haven't got it yet. So they've delayed that. That's coming out at some point next week if you haven't seen that already. So if you were looking forward to tucking into some games on that today, sorry mate, you're not playing it. It's coming out at some point next week. I think they said week starting the 4th or something like that. So yeah, that's due out at some point next week. I will say that although it is kind of lazy that they're not actually building a new map, I actually like their idea of the fact that they've cut part of the Warzone map to use as a Resurgence map. I think that that particular part of the map is kind of underused in Warzone, I would say. You can disagree on that with me if you like in the comments. But I would say that map is very Fortune's Keep-esque if you take the whole of it from Warzone, which I presume they are. It seems like they are. And I think it's a good idea. Rather than them, clearly they don't have time. They've got too many weed skins to make to possibly make a brand new map. So I actually quite like the fact that they're using some initiative and still bringing something out that's new. So I don't knock them for that. I do think that one will actually be really good. I'm looking forward to playing it, even though it was meant to come out and hasn't, which is typical COD. But I'm looking forward to that when that bit does come out. Other than those two things, nothing's really changed. I mean, we've had some weapon balancing, so that's what I've got up on screen here. So to run through that with you, this is the message they put out. So this is for Warzone specifically only, so not multiplayer. We are genuinely pleased with the weapon diversity and viability in Warzone. Cronin. For example, the submachine gun category is very healthy, with a staggering 6 SMGs falling within a 10 percentage point difference in kill-death ratio at the highest skill levels. Among them the Vaznev, Vel, and at the top, perhaps surprisingly, the PDSW. Now, this is where I fall short with stuff like this, right? They base these stats, this is the highest skill levels. I'm not being funny, but nobody in Warzone Ranked is running a Vazzy, and none of them are running a PDSW. We have the odd couple that are running the Vel, but since J-God and all the other video guys have put out the stats specifically showing the Vel, nobody's really running that, but that one's more common in Ranked than these two, that's for sure. But there's no mention there of the ISO 45 and no mention of the Lachman sub, which are statistically the two best subs in the game, and it's not that close. Even though they want to say this. This is just BS. The submachine gun category is a lot better than most of the other things, though. I will say that. It's not all bad, and I can see their point, but to say 10% point difference in kill death ratio at the highest skill level, what is the highest skill level? Because none of them are running that in ranked. While this is great news, we recognise that not all the categories are enjoying that same level of competition. This update is focused on introducing further viability into the long-range engagement space. Basically saying we're pretty much all running the Cronin. And this update also includes a reduction in launcher damage. Thank God. How that lasted so long in ranked, I have no idea. And as soon as I played Vondel, I was getting RPG'd. It just wasn't a fun experience. So thank God that they've done that. That's a W on my books. We'll be monitoring their performance following the launch of Season 5 Reloaded, and if they consider to be problematic anti-personnel weapons, we'll make further adjustments. That's okay. Like, I'm not going to dive too much into that. But basically, that bit's a bit wrong in my opinion, but I can see what they're saying. And we've got some buffs and nerfs. So I'm going to go through these with you. I'm going to tell you what is actually the meta, not the about 55,000 videos that you're about to see pop up on your YouTube, your social medias, telling you what the meta is. It's not that hard to work out from just reading the patch notes of what the top people are going to be using. The Chimera, this is an interesting one because it does feel like it kills really fast, but the last time I saw the stats on it, it had like almost I think it was about 1,000 something millisecond TTK, which isn't that good, but close range damage increased, far damage increased, head damage multiplier increased, lower torso damage multiplier increased. It won't be meta because it's not mobile enough, but as a quote-unquote, I hate this term, sniper support, the gun that you might use with your sniper, we don't call it an AR support. That's why I don't like the fact that you would call a sniper support a sniper support. I mean, for the most part, I generally would run an SMG with a sniper anyway, but you don't call a submachine gun or a shotgun or something that you're pairing with an AR, you wouldn't call that a support. So why do we do it with a sniper? Anyway, needs much. That one might be okay, but I don't think it would be meta. You need to remember the fact they had a 1,000 TTK before. The sort of the changes that they make to these things are sort of point different, so it might make it a bullet less to kill, but I don't think it's going to change it to the point where it's then suddenly got like a 500 millisecond TTK and it's going to be broken, because they don't do that big a change to the point system on it. It's almost like a Moneyball type system. It doesn't really work. The FR Advancer, close damage range increase, far damage increase. I've got to be honest, I don't even have this thing leveled up. People seem to kind of gravitate towards it, and it was picked quite a lot. It wasn't a terrible gun, but it was one of those guns that I feel like a lot of the maybe more casual of players were using, because of its sort of FAMAS-like heritage, if that makes any sense. It was good, but it was nowhere near the meta, so I don't see this being a meta yet, but it might be getting up towards it. It's not very good from range either, so it's not going to be the sort of primary range gun. For some reason, they've nerfed the Hemlock again. Don't bother. There's no point. I don't know why they've done that. This one is interesting. The Lachman 5.56 is again, and it was buffed, I think, in the last two updates. It was definitely buffed in the last update, at least. So it's at least had two buffs now. The head damage multiplier has been increased. That was the only thing that was increased last time, so it's interesting to see that they've buffed the headshot damage again. Neck damage multiplier increased, and upper torso damage multiplier increased. Now, I did try this one out yesterday upon the update coming out. It's good, but it's not what I'll get to. It's not the strongest gun, but it is better than it was. I don't think it's meta, personally, but it is a lot more viable. I mean, it's not a big change, but it's because of the other things that have come down, which we'll get to in a moment. It feels a bit better. That's a lot of what these things tend to be now, is they reduce something like the Cronin, which they have nerfed, clearly. and we'll get to that in a minute, but that kind of then brings them back up along with these tiny minor changes. But it feels good. It's definitely usable. If you liked that gun before, you could definitely try it and use it. I wouldn't personally say it's meta, but it's not awful. It's definitely a usable gun. Just in my opinion, not the best of the best, but it's definitely an up there weapon, maybe potentially A tier, not S tier, if you get what I'm saying. M13B, the noob's favourite weapon. All location damage multipliers increased. They seem to be really trying to push this gun, but they still can't get it right. From close to mid, it does slap, but it is still a pea shooter from range. So it's just not. It's not going to be primary yet. It needs a lot more over range for that to compete. I don't even bother with this one. This one's just a crap version of that. The M4 is similar to the M13, I've got to be honest. From range, it just doesn't do it. It kills quite fast. There's a lot of muzzle flash on the sort of meta quote unquote meta build. Yeah, it's just not, for me, it's not there, but from close range, it definitely hits. All these are kind of, although they say Warzone, I would more focus like this, and this, and this actually. These are all sort of more directed towards resurgence, really. You're not really going to use them on ranked, if that's more what you're concerned with. The STB, it kills fast. That gun kills fast. So the fact that that's had a head damage multiplier increased, I haven't tried that one. I've got to be honest. I haven't tried that one. It's too heavy and it doesn't have a good enough long range. But again, in that sort of resurgence space, that one could be one to look out for. The Razorback, close damage range increase, close mid damage range increase. Realistically, that's the only time you're using it. It's sort of that 0 to 50 meter range. I don't like it for anything past that, but again, resurgence might be the best place for that gun. Now this is where it gets interesting. The only change to battle rifles is on the Cronin, and it's all nerfs. It is noticeable. It is not the best battle rifle anymore, but it's definitely still competitive. Like, I'd be using the Cronin still personally from using it in the firing range. That's definitely better than like the Hemlock and stuff like that still. So it's not an awful gun. They haven't nerfed this thing to the ground, although these things kind of suggest that they have. Limb damage decreased, lower torso, upper torso, neck damage and head damage all decreased. But we need to remember that this is Activision. These things have been nerfed by like a 1 point basis. It's not that much of a nerf. However, because of the fact that they never really did much to the TAC V in the last update, please go ahead and try the TAC V, because that not getting touched in this, all they've done is swap the meta. It was the Cronin before, they changed it to the TAC V, and now they've changed it back. Then they changed it back to the Cronin, now they've changed it back to the TAC V again. They've literally gone Cronin TAC V, Cronin TAC V. Like, that's what they've done. I'm telling you now that if you use the TAC V in the firing range, put the thing up to 3 plates, you're easily killing all 3 dummies and got 10 bullets left to spare. For me, that is the primary weapon meta inside of like ranked. I would be very shocked if I see anything else being used come a couple of days time. I think it will be that. Yeah, I just don't see it being anything else. There's not been touched, and it was still so strong. The fact that that hasn't had any kind of nerf along this clearly shows to me that that's the gun that they want to be the meta, because they know that the TTK was so close still to the Cronin, even come the nerf that they had last time. So for them to only nerf it once, they've clearly shifted that back to the primary weapon for me, primary meta for me, sorry. When you consider the fact that the launcher's done, they've mentioned that already. The fact that the RPK got nerfed other than headshot damage, but I mean, it's not meta. The Sacking's not been there. The only one that maybe comes into the fold is something like the HCR or the RAL, potentially the RAL. That will have a very good TTK as well. The reason why I'm saying the TAC V over the RAL, especially for ranked, is that as good as the RAL is, it isn't mobile and the reload is slow. I think I'm killing a squad a lot quicker with the TAC V. If you miss those couple of bullets with the RAL, and you've then got to factor in the reload and all that sort of stuff, it isn't as strong in my opinion. But I could see an argument for the RAL I just don't see it there yet. Plus, the TAC V is so much easier to use. I personally would say the TAC V is what's going to come out, but you might see a few rows as well. I wouldn't be surprised on that one. Some people do gravitate towards the HDR, but it's never been up there. So I would ignore that one personally. Shotguns are kind of irrelevant. This is where some lies are going to come out. Right here. The BAS-P is not a bad gun. Contrary to popular belief, the BAS-P has had a buff on every single update that I've seen in recent times. They must have had at least 4 buffs by now. It is a lot better than it was come the start, but although these things have been tweaked, I personally, and I'll wait to see the stats, but I personally haven't seen a single nerf there to the Lachman sub. The only nerf I've seen is on multiplayer, and that multiplayer one, not that it has any impact on this in Warzone, the multiplayer one is simply saying that its highest tied to kill point is at the point of up to 8 meters, I believe, and they've maybe reduced that to 7. But I mean, from point blank, the fastest killing gun submachine gun wise was the Lachman sub before the reloaded update, and it should still be. That I've used the BAS-P and it is a lot better, but for me the Lachman sub is definitely noticeably better. The ISO is as well. They've not touched it. They've not touched the ISO and they've not touched the Lachman sub. The Venick was nowhere near. So yes, that's had a little bit of a buff again, but it's not going to be top tier. It'll be a lot more usable. It's one of those guns that I think they kind of buff because a lot of the more casual players still run it because they can't be asked to rank the other stuff up, which is fair enough. That is not a dig at all. There's so many different changes all the time that if you're a casual, you're just simply not going to have time to rank them up. So I would argue that that's all that is. It's not meta. Limb damage multiplier is increased on the Veil, but that's just going to bring it more up to like chest damage and things like that it was doing, and that it wasn't the meta from close range in the first place. So that TTK's not got any better. It's just on limb damage that has improved. It's not exactly like you're going to shoot somebody in the arm and it's going to have a faster time to kill than a headshot. At least that we know of. This is COD and those things could happen, but they're not meant to. So for me, TAC V, maybe the RAL, but TAC V is going to be what is used in ranks alongside the Lachman sub and ISO. So realistically, no cap, nothing fucking changed other than the Cronin, and it's just changed back to what it was before. So it's a little bit of an L on that side of things. I would say that a lot of it's not that unbalanced in the first place. Like a lot of it's pretty on a par, but I would like to see a full meta shift on submachine guns, regardless of the fact that, I mean, I love the Lachman sub, I won't lie, so I'm not that bothered by it. But it would be quite cool if something like the BAS-P did eventually become better, because we never really ran that gun before. So something completely new would be good. And by all accounts, the new Lachman Shroud thing isn't that good. Yeah, I would quite like to see that. What guns would you like to see be the actual meta? Let me know below in the comments. Hope you've enjoyed this little rundown. The no BS version of this. I'm not going to start putting out fucking videos going, this gun is the best, unless it actually is. That's just not me. Although the content might be there and you could get loads of views and shit off it, I don't want to sit there and BS you. That will be the meta. Just trust me, okay? Trust me. Hope you've enjoyed. If you haven't already dropped a like, please do drop a like. Please drop a comment. Please. The comments are essential to helping the video reach more people. So please make sure you're dropping a comment. And if you haven't already, follow my live streaming page over on Kick. I need as many of you guys over there as possible each day. I'm streaming from about 9 AM till 5 PM. Tonight, I'm actually doing a sabotage stream, which will be me playing solos and you guys versus certain amounts of donations. Will be ruining my games, making me do different things, and it'll be a whole lot of fun. So hopefully you guys are coming along to that tonight and dropping a follow if you haven't done so already. I.e. things such as, I think last time we did it, we had like shoot the whole mag out of your gun exactly where you are if somebody donates £1 or something like that, or change weapon with the next person you kill, £1, like all things like that. Like, or maybe we had one last time, it was like somebody did, I think it was like 5 gifts. You have to down your. I was having a couple of beers and stuff like that on the stream. It was like down your beer and all things like that to make it more difficult. Last time I actually ended up dressed up in drag for this sheer amount of gifted that we had. That's not my thing. Before, I know it sounds like I've just said that this is the thing I do a lot. It isn't. I promise. It was just for a bit of fun for the stream. It was. And then they had Molly come up and do all my makeup, so I looked hilarious. And then for from sheer generosity, they made me go to my local co-op, which is our local shop, in said drag, drunk, live streamed on my Kick and Facebook. I then walked to my local shop, which I go to all the time, and purchased cucumber and Vaseline. So yeah, you don't want to miss it. It'll be a lot of fun. Whatever happens, it'll be a lot of fun. So make sure you're following the link. Please come join. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.